Hi friends, welcome back to my next video on the topic Matter Inner Surroundings of Class 9. In the previous video, we have learnt about physical properties of matter. You can find the link in the description box. Those who haven't watched the previous videos, please do watch it. And in this video, we will be discussing characteristics of particles of matter. In our last session, we have learned that matter is made up of very small particles. What are the three different characteristics of particles of matter? Particles of matter have space between them. Particles of matter are continuously moving. Particles of matter attract each other. Now I will explain these characteristics to you one by one. Please listen this session very carefully. First characteristic is particles of matter have space between them. We did an activity in our previous video of dissolving salt in a beaker of water, right? Here we took water in a beaker and in that water we added some salt. Leave it undisturbed. Slowly the entire water will start to have a salty taste. Here particles of salt and particles of water intermix by its own after some time. But my dear friends, on dissolving salt in water, the level of water in the beaker does not rise. Why there is no change in the water level? Yes, when we add salt in water, salt particles get into the space between the water particles. So there is no change in the water level. Instead of salt, if we add potassium permanganate to water in a beaker, definitely particles will intermix by its own after some time. In other words, violet color of potassium permanganate intermixes throughout the whole volume of water even if we don't stir it. Similarly, when we make coffee or lemonade, particles of one type of matter get into the spaces between particles of the other. All these examples show that there is enough space between particles of matter. Now let's move on to the second characteristic, which is particles of matter are continuously moving. With the example of incense stick, let's prove that particles of matter are continuously moving. When the incense stick is not lit, we get the smell only when we stand near it, right? But when we lit up the incense stick, very soon the smell will spread over the entire room and we get the smell of incense stick several meters away. This activity shows that particles of matter are continuously moving. Here, particles coming from the lit incense stick mix with particles of air and distribute themselves equally in all available space. This intermixing of particles of two substances on their own is called diffusion. Here, particles coming from the lit incense stick and particles of air are the two substances. What is the definition of diffusion? The intermixing of two different types of matter on their own is called diffusion. Fragrance of perfume can be sensed even from a distance, right? This is due to diffusion of fragrance of perfume particles into particles of air. When we add potassium permanganate or blue ink to water in the beaker, definitely particles will intermix by its own after some time. This intermixing of particles of two substances on their own is called diffusion. Now let's conclude that particles of matter are continuously moving. For moving, definitely they should have some energy. That energy we will call it as kinetic energy. Moving energy of particles are called kinetic energy. Smell of lit incense stick or hot biryani reaches you several meters away. In both cases, particles diffuse faster in air as its temperature is very high. But cold food particles would take long time to diffuse and we have to go close to get the smell of it. Now let's conclude that particles of matter are continuously moving. On heating, particles move faster and easily intermix. In other words, with rising temperature, kinetic energy of particle increases and diffusion also increases. Third characteristic is particles of matter attract each other. Open a water tap. Try breaking the stream of water with your finger. It breaks, but when finger is removed, the stream of water regained. We are not able to cut the stream of water with fingers, right? Because particles of water remains together as they attract each other. From this activity, let's conclude that particles of matter attract each other. Now let's do an activity to understand that strength or force of attraction between particles varies from one type of matter to another. Take an iron nail and a piece of chalk. Try breaking them by hammering or cutting. It is observed that it is easiest to break a piece of chalk followed by the iron nail. Here force of attraction is strongest in the iron nail and weakest in a piece of chalk. So let's conclude that strength or force of attraction between particles is different in different types of matter. In liquids, particles have less force of attraction between them. So a diver is able to cut through the water in a swimming pool. Force of attraction between particles are very weak in air. So we can easily wave our hands through air. But in solids, force of attraction is very strong. So we can't easily break it. In this video, we have discussed about characteristics of particles of matter. That's all for today's session. Hope you all have understood today's topic very clearly. We will meet in the next session with another topic. Don't forget to subscribe this channel so that you can get a notification of new uploads as we are done. Thank you so much. We'll meet you all in the next video.